Okay, this is Suzanne from www.eft-scripts.com, and this is the third video in the series of tapping on bad news. And I had to keep stopping because this machine only uploads to YouTube if the video is 15 minutes and no longer, and I've already had half an hour. So I was tapping on bad news that I was expecting, and part of me was saying, what's wrong with you, Suzanne? Why can't you take a bit of bad news? And I mean, it could be good news, but statistically, industry average is that this letter is going to contain bad news. So I'm not just saying it. Could be good news, in which case you'll have me celebrating and laughing here next week, but 66% chance that it's bad news. And it's funny, and I say that it's not upsetting to me anymore. And as I was tapping, different images came up, and in the end, an image of me when I was a sole trader, and before that, when I both worked in the corporate world and had a part-time job working 12-hour shifts at night in order to afford medical fees and afford to move forward in life, and because I'd been chronically ill, and I was still pretty ill at the time, and I had to work all those hours in order to make the medical fees because I was misdiagnosed. And anyway, it's a long story. I've tapped on all of that. It seems so boring now, I can't even be bothered to tell you about it. But what came up today, which seems to be still kind of a little bit there, is, you know, when you're in a situation where you have to take action, a life-threatening situation. That was a life-threatening situation for me. Every day I didn't know if the next hour would be alive. And you just somehow keep going. You know, you hear of people who, with their son or daughter trapped under a car, managed to lift the car. And they're only tiny, and they shouldn't have the strength to lift the car, but they did. Or of people who calmly dealt with a murderer and got away from them, or something, or managed to defend themselves and got out of the situation very calmly, and then they fell apart. Is this sort of thing for a prolonged period of time, for a number of years, a good number of years, I lived like that. I would work day and night. Eventually I would work 7 days a week, day and night. Before I became a practitioner. And then when I became a practitioner a little bit too early, and I worked harder than I should have done, starting things up, and everything was an uphill struggle because I got the wrong advice, and I did it earlier than I wanted to, because I was doing it for the wrong reasons earlier than I wanted to. And that was pre-EFT days. And I've tapped on, I wish I had EFT in those days, I've already done that. So what remains now, I'm looking at this thing from the post office, because that was what was bringing up the energy disruption and brought all this to the surface. And I just want to clear it completely, because it's now Friday. I have to go through the rest of Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and half of Tuesday. So really I have to go through 4.5 days between now and when I actually can get the letter. And I don't want to be driving myself nuts for 4.5 days, worrying about the bad news. And then, what am I going to do? I mean, if I open the letter and it's good news, great, then it means I can go ahead to the next thing. And no, this is what's wrong. If I open the letter and it's good news, it means I can go ahead to the next stage. That's incorrect. So that's a belief. Because I'm part of a company doing this. This letter is to do with a company. And I have people in my position in the company who can take over if it's good news. And they don't just need to take over if it's bad news, they can take over if it's good news. I don't have to do the next step. And wow, that's enormous. So even though I still think I have to do it, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though I still think I have to do it, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though I still think I have to do it, I deeply love and accept myself. And you know what's come up for me is something else, because that doesn't feel that's got any charge on it. What's come up for me is the last time I tried to work in such an organization. It was one where the head of the organization was a control freak. And was supposed to be looking after me, but ended up trying to crush me at every opportunity. And at first I couldn't believe this was happening, because logically they shouldn't have been acting that way. Logically it's crazy acting. You know, why is somebody in such a position being jealous of me? You know, it logically didn't make sense. But eventually I had to accept that. And my way of dealing with that person is to duck them all the time, to stay under the radar, so that they can't hurt me any further. Because they were actually going all out for me. And it really was weird, because that person was in a position where they should have been taking care of me rather than trying to destroy me. And I couldn't understand that. And part of me is probably, although illogical, it's totally illogical, emotions don't have to be logical, probably trying to think that in this organization, in this company, it's going to be the same, but it's not, because the people are completely different. And it's not ruled by like a dictatorship. It's ruled totally differently. It's ruled like it should be, and there's no corruption there, or you know. We all do good things and bad things, you know. Nobody's perfect. I'm not expecting the other people working with me to be perfect. Of course they're not. I'm not. Nobody is. But you know, to expect, there's still a part of me, I think, which is afraid I've got to retain control, otherwise somebody will try to crush me and destroy my business. And that's big. It's very big. So, how big is it? As I look at this letter, I've got to be careful, because somebody will be... It feels like an 8, but it's just crazy, because it's illogical. Even though I'd better be careful, because somebody will try to crush my business, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though, of course, we've always got to be careful in case somebody crushes our business. No businessman is completely safe, and you don't have friends in business, but I don't have to worry about it to this extent. I deeply love and accept myself. And now it feels like a 3. I don't have to worry about it to this extent. Yes, of course I should worry about it a little bit, but not to that extent, because I've worked damn hard to make sure that what happened in the past is not going to happen again. I've put so many things in place. It's not, you know, and that's cool, that's okay. I deeply love and accept myself. So that's gone. It's just from tapping here. That's gone. Another thing came in its place, a situation where you depend on organizations or other people as part of your living, and then just like that, that organization can disappear. If you've been in business and something like that happened to you, maybe you can relate. I remember when I was selling courier services, I was in sales, I was selling delivery services, and I heard of a courier company who their biggest client went bust. Unfortunately, their biggest client was where most of their business was, and their biggest client owed them 4 months in arrears, and so when their biggest client went bust, they went bust. And it's hard when things happen like that, you know, when you have to work with suppliers, you have to work with clients, you have to work with supporters, you have to work with people that help you. As a sole trader, there is a lot that you do which you probably wouldn't have to do as a company, and it's hard. And gee whiz, I mean, I'm partly a sole trader with some things that I do, but only a small part, and that's not important. That's not affected by this at all. And so, even though I worry that somebody might pull the rug out from under me again, well, I have taken steps, put things in place, so that should somebody choose to do so, it won't affect me so badly. And that's kind of okay, isn't it? Yeah. Even though I'm worried somebody might pull the rug out from under me, well, the last time it happened, it just made me stronger. It gave me a big bruise on my bum, but hey, you know, you just live with it and you get on with it. I deeply love and accept myself. And on this particular occasion, nobody's going to pull the rug from under me. It's just so stupid because I can see how illogical I'm being, but emotionally to have those beliefs, it's just so shocking. It's as if I'm dealing with one of my own clients. Sorry, my own clients, if this is you, but I think you know what I'm talking about. It's weird because it's like, I thought, could I possibly have these weird beliefs? But I do. I did. I don't know. All these weird beliefs, the rug being pulled out from under me. It's all my own responsibility. There's no one to help me. There's no one who's my equal. Nobody's as capable as me. Nobody else can do it. It has to be me that does it. Oh my goodness, all these beliefs. No wonder I was going to pieces. As I look, it's just so much I'm still releasing now with laughter as I look at the letter from the post office, the slip from the post office saying, come and get this letter, which will probably be bad news. It's just a letter. It's just the next step forward that the company, of which I am a member, will just have to deal with as a team. It's just a small thing. It's a small matter. It's not a big deal. It's just routine. It's routine. It's okay, so no, it's not routine. It's not a routine step, but the way of dealing with it would be by a series of steps which are not that extraordinary. It will mean a lot to the company when that matter is sorted, but it won't mean that much less if it's not. Because the other people in the company have been putting in the effort and have come up with other solutions. And that's cool. It's only a letter. It's just a letter. It's only a letter. It's changed my life. Okay, thank you so much for listening. It's Suzanne from www.eft-scripts.com. Bye-bye now.